Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Ad Age Remotely. I'm Janine Poggi, Assistant Managing Editor here at Ad Age. Thanks for joining us. Earlier this week, Initiative named Amy Armstrong as its global CEO, making her the first woman to ever run the IPG agency. Armstrong has been US CEO since 2016 and has held leadership positions within IPG for 2 decades. She takes over for Matt Baxter, who now becomes global chairman. Hi, Amy. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, Janine. Thanks for having me.
Congrats on the new role.
Thank you. It's been a whirlwind week, but super proud and excited to expand my remit within Initiative.
Absolutely. And it comes at, just a great time too, with it being Women's History Month. Your promotion was announced on the first day of Women's History Month, which is super exciting. And I think also adds another level to just the news.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to move into this role, and it's not lost on me that they collided on a day of kicking off Women's History Month, and I'm glad it's a whole month because we still have lots of progress that needs to be had in this area of getting more female leaders to not only the global level, but the executive level. So for me, what was really great about this accomplishment is all the feedback that I got, especially from female leaders, or other female leaders, but also folks that I used to work with throughout my career, whether it's client size, coworkers, or media partners, just championing that a woman got to this level and just so inspired. And so I don't take that lightly, and I hope it just reinforces to many females in this industry, this destination is accessible. You just got to work for it and opportunity will come.
For those of you watching at home, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them on our social channels. We'll try to get to them during this conversation. So you make a really great point about there's the opportunity and, you show how hard work can, get you to this point. But what are you doing and what is the agency doing to help empower other women and underrepresented groups in the industry to help get them to this point?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, everyone at Initiative and IPG knows that DEI is a big, big topic and initiative that I have embraced ever since I stepped into this role. But quite frankly, diversity has always been how I've grown up in the IPG world. But still, a lot more work needs to be done. We need more people to be educated on how to lift where we need more diverse representation across the agency. And so it's not just numbers. And I think as an industry, we heard it. You can give CEOs numbers to be accountable for, but more importantly, what are the programs that you're putting in place to shift the behavior? And so some things that I've been really proud of at Initiative is going and putting and working with just our existing talent base and having panels and listening to the feedback and actioning on that. Secondly, talking to third parties that are experts in this area to help train and coach people to have uncomfortable conversations around topics that you typically avoid. At Initiative, we have the hard conversations. They should be uncomfortable. And now they're getting more comfortable, but they're respectful conversations. And so as we help all of Initiative try to be more educated in this space, it's not going to slow down. And I'm really proud. We're seeing the difference. I love the diversity that's within the agency. I think on a leadership standpoint, we've made tremendous strides in the 4 years that I ran the US from the leadership standpoint. I plan to tackle that now globally. Again, I think there's a lot of progress to be done and some other things that we're doing to attract talent into the Initiative family is a couple years ago, we spent a year doing a study around In Search of Great Talent, where we moved from going from a skill-based interview to more of behavior-based interview. And that automatically takes a lot of biases out of that process. And so I think that's been a change agent for us. I talk to clients about how we recruit for talent and what behaviors make people successful at Initiative. Now I will call out, it's at Initiative. Everyone's got their own culture, but I think that's a big shift to helping unlock more around this conversation.
What do you mean by behavior versus skill set?
So what we did is we looked at folks that were really thriving at initiative and conducted some behavioral interviews to understand what possessed them to be proactive, what made them seek to go above and beyond. So learning more about their backgrounds on things that were important to them, that shaped and impacted their life, that they bring it to work. And so we came up with 4 personas that really resonated to the top, that had people move forward in their careers. And then we decided to share this out so we can help even existing talent to understand, like, these are behaviors that are coming all from you, and we want you to continue to act in these proactive manners. We also tie it back to no surprise. I always say we've been blessed with a really good name, taking the initiative, and we take the initiative for our clients. So that's what I mean about behaviors. The skill sets are important, but you can have the smartest person with the greatest track record, but if they're not going to go in there and be proactive and have a drive in them, for instance, they're not going to be successful.
Where has the agency, fallen short as it relates to equity, and where are you looking to do better?
Yeah, always looking to do better. So 2 answers. First, within the US, since I know it so intimately, we do really well as talent comes into the organization. I've made the change at the top level, and it's that senior level right before when you become managers that we see BIPOC talent fall off. And we've had to take a hard look at why is that. And so going back to some of the things that I've been talking about, the training and the feedback, like, I look at all those exit interviews. My HR partners know that I ask the hard questions, and really understanding, did we feel that people felt like it couldn't continue their career at initiative? So there's more work for us to be done here. I think we're more aware and doing things to help make sure that we have programs in place that will keep diverse talent growing within the organization, but it's not good enough today. And then on a global standpoint, I'm really interested to learn on what that diversity, equity, and inclusion means around the world.
Yeah, and I assume there will be different meanings based upon where you're looking and how you essentially tackle that and look at each of those places individually.
Yes, absolutely.
So Initiative won some big business recently, including T-Mobile's media business earlier this year. What are your client priorities as you move through 2021?
My client priorities is we've been blessed to have a great winning streak in a very difficult year of 2020. And then starting off in January to have T-Mobile join the Initiative family. I'm focusing on keeping our clients happy. So, in the U.S., that's a key priority for me and the leadership team, because as we've grown so much, I think we want to make sure that we protect as well. But, when I think about what our client priorities, in tandem, some of the things I've been talking about, clients are talking about their culture, their talent. Are they set up for success? But the one thing that keeps coming up, and I'm sure everyone that's tuning in has heard this, everyone's talking about transformation initiatives, whether it's digital transformation, organizational transformation initiatives. And defining what transformation means for clients is something, as a media partner, you have to really dig into to understand. So, and I think adapting talent to whatever that transformation definition means is critical. So, as an agency, we are doubling down on our craft-led organization, and we're calibrating to where clients need to transform their operations. And that's everything from whether they're bringing things in-house to how they set up their data infrastructure. Many things, but the transformation agenda is important. But what's interesting to me when I talk to clients and their priorities, there's still a bunch of clients that have this contradiction of seeing media as just a commodity. And in a time where transformation is constantly discussed, those two can contradict one another. And so we challenge and try to discuss with our clients, while what we do in the marketplace and transact on your behalf, and Upfront is a great example for that. And we take that seriously, and we have to get you the right value. It's about finding the right audiences and transforming the way you do things. And so I think as a media partner, to be known more than just a commodity is how you win today. And stop chasing the word savings and start talking about value. And I think those are priorities for the clients that are doing the right things in marketing today.
Let's talk about the upfronts for a little bit. We're getting into the upfront selling season, and certainly this year will once again be a whole different ball game than in prior years, as we still feel the effects of COVID. How is Initiative thinking about the upfront planning season? What are clients asking for at this point?
Well, I think one key theme that will come from last year into this year is the need for flexibility still, right? It's no surprise. And, I definitely want to say thank you to the media partners out there for really helping our clients get through a difficult time, which couldn't have been easy for them. But flexibility is still very key on giving our clients that access. Looking at the trends, we know linear TV is down 15%, and we know connected TV is up 30%. And so making sure that we have a strategy of cross screen will continue to get more and more at the forefront, which it has been, but it's good to see it go even further now. So we can make sure that we're finding those audiences that we need to find. I also am predicting it will be a fast upfront because the demand will be high. So we will make sure that we're ready, and make sure that we can action to make sure that we can deliver that best value for our clients.
Do you think this is the year where we finally move away from the traditional way business is done? I know it kind of stalled a little bit last year, of course, because of COVID uncertainties and things like that. But when we talk about new forms of measurement and currency and advanced analytics and all of those things that the industry has been pushing for so long, do you think this is the year that will actually take, and clients are ready to take, real steps towards those movements?
I mean, look, you see you see some clients get ahead of that more so than others. And while I'm not going to say this is the year where everyone collectively comes together and it's wishful thinking, it's continuing to drive that agenda forward on the measurement. And one of the things that I'm really proud that Media Brands is doing is this diversity upfront, where we're having a whole week of Black-owned entity and targeted media partners to come to the table, who typically, Janine, they don't get measured, right? And I think more than ever, this is a perfect example of shifting the behavior. And our clients are listening, and our clients want to rally behind this. And so I think that is one way to force a change of behavior while we wait for old school measurement to catch up. You have to redefine it.
Will clients be thinking about diversity in terms of their media planning moving into the upfronts this year? Will we see them allocate more dollars to perhaps these minority-owned media companies, or targeting people of color and other minority groups?
I think some clients have already started down that path. I expect this to continue to accelerate. And I think it's really important as agents in the marketplace and what we stand for as companies that we have our clients understand the importance of participating. So yes, I do think that it's something of consideration. And I can say a lot of Initiative clients and the teams that work on those businesses have had these discussions, especially on the back half of last year. So yes, I definitely think so.
I'm here with Amy Armstrong, Global CEO of Initiative. Thank you to those watching at home. We have Mark, Ramesh, Adriana, Joe, Dan, Diana, and Miranda. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them on our social channels, and we'll try to get to them here. So one of the things you were talking about when you were addressing transformation is data transformation. Yesterday, Google, of course, made the announcement that it won't adopt new tracking technology. How are you thinking about and preparing for a cookieless future?
Well, I mean, as we were chatting before, it's like every day there's something new that comes out around this topic. And so yes, the Google article wasn't surprising to see. As media partners, we have to make sure that we're testing alternative solutions to the cookieless world. Every holding group should have some solution. With us, we're working with Kinesso of how to empower clients with first-party data to ensure that they're going to succeed here. Obviously, clients that are heavily dependent on third-party data and that have invested in DMPs are playing massive catch-up, and they've spent a lot of money on this technology that we need to have alternative solutions. So whether it's a new identity solution and working within the walled gardens that we've had to work on, like this stuff isn't new. It's just continuing to stay on top of the changes, on top of the privacy and compliance laws as well. It's a learning experience, and we are starting to develop our playbooks and strategies to help our clients navigate about it and test those alternative solutions. We're in those test and learn mode right now. I also think it's important that all agencies and clients are looking at their talent to ensure that they have people that understand the space and can keep up with what's happening. So evolving your data and privacy practices are critical at this time, and don't put it on one person's shoulder. You've got to have a leader, but how do you make sure you educate everyone in this complex landscape with the cookieless? But I think we'll get around. I am optimistic that we will get our clients to still succeed.
How big of a deal was the Google announcement? I know you said it wasn't a surprise, but how much of an effect do you think it'll have on the industry?
Again, I mean, we've been working with Facebook for quite some time with walled gardens. So, Google coming in, we're going to have to work around what they have put forth. It's not that it's not a big deal. It's just, we just have to make sure that we're going to navigate how to best get our clients based on their first party data to be able to embrace what Google is putting forth. So I don't know. Janine, what gets really interesting to me about the Google solution is clients that have their first party data, incentivizing them to share this data with, Google. It's like there's a whole privacy on both sides. It's not just a one-way street. So I think that's, really what we'll continue to focus on, to how do we protect our clients in this new cookieless world.
Gotcha. So switching gears a little bit, I want to talk about what I'm hoping will be soon a post-COVID world, and how you are thinking about the agency model, moving forward.
Well, as we all know, the agency model has changed, right? It was forced to change a year ago. I haven't physically been in an office since March 13th of last year. And so I think we've all learned that you can do things virtually and not travel as much as you've needed to in the past. But how it switches in the future, it's not going to go back ever to what it was. And I think what's been interesting for me as a leader is learning from more of the independent small businesses that not necessarily fall in marketing, but how they have adapted their workplace, because I think they can do it in speed faster than holding groups, right? And holding groups have to all align on policies, which I fully respect. But knowing it's not going to be 5 days in the office, there'll be some talent that will never need to be in the office. There'll be talent that's throughout different geographies, right? And then the one that I'm really trying to figure out is how do we embrace a more flexible model in an industry that's known for burnt out. Yeah. Right? It's lovely to think you can say, oh, we'll have flex time here. And we've piloted a couple programs last year in the US to give people the mental break. And it worked for some and it failed for others. But, I really would love to work with clients more to understand how we got to protect talent on both sides. We all can't keep working at the pace that we're working at and exceed. And so what I hope the new workplace adapts is just smarter ways of working between clients, so people also have the time that they need to have a life. That's really important.
Yeah, as you said, it's certainly the ad world hasn't been the model of work-life
No.
balance. And I wonder, as as you start seeing a hybrid model emerge, and some people are in the office, others are home, and switching that up, where the equity might be there in terms of the people who are home. Will they be at a disadvantage from the people that are in the office? How do you make sure you're still all connecting when some people are in and some aren't, or some are located in different areas? Will, if the same rapid pace in which the industry has been working forever continues, will that be sustainable, having that model? So, I think it'll be interesting to watch how that moves forward.
I think that's very fair, and we've talked about that. You cannot, and look, we saw that pre-COVID, where we had some flexible models, and there was some, people are like, well, they're not making it into the office. I really hope, and it'll be reinforced, and it's empowered by leadership to make sure that this is enforced across all managers, that you cannot hold anyone accountable for a different work from home model. My ask, because we are an agent on behalf of the wonderful clients we get to represent, is that when you do need to be in person, you got to come in person, right? But be as accommodating and empathetic as possible for what people need to be set up for success. I mean, the other thing we didn't chat about here is it's been pretty disheartening during the pandemic that it's been more diverse talent and female talent that has had to get out of the industry because of what's going on at home. And I hope that gets better. But, we've taken some steps back that we need to make sure that we are going in eyes wide open when it is back into the office, that we are setting talent up for success for however they need to work. Just get the job done. Managers should not care where they are, how they do it. Just get the job done.
You mentioned the client relationship, of course, and when you need to be in person, that would be the requirement. But how has the client agency relationship changed and evolved? What might it look like, as we start seeing things opening up?
Yeah, I mean, it's been interesting virtually pitching, I will say, that I think that is a whole nother topic. But the client agency partnership, look, out of the gate, I think all agencies saw that our clients were very grateful for all the dedication and the teams helping them navigate through some really tough times. And so I think there was a good part of the partnership and the relationship that that was strengthened during this time. That should continue because that trust was built. But I do think it's going to continue to change. I think clients will be more tolerant of folks virtually calling in than going in person. But I do want to stress, I really miss the human contact. I am done with this home office and my bookshelf that I see every day. I really do want. It's important that clients and agencies actually see each other. There's nothing better than that. So, that's my hope for the future.
What have you learned during this time of leading remotely? As a leader, what does it mean to lead when everyone is virtual? And especially as you move into this new role, what does that succession plan in terms of doing this all virtually look like?
Yeah, I mean, last year for me, it was literally getting in front of the agency every week, doing exactly what you and I are doing, even if it was 30 minutes, and and I couldn't see them, and they're just watching me, and I'm giving them updates just along the way, and rolling out programs that will help give them support, giving a forum to ask the questions they needed to ask. So I think, leadership virtually, you need to be more connected than ever before. And I think leaders that have a higher EQ, when you're doing virtual meetings and you watch someone on screen picking up what's their environment that they're working in, how do they feel today? You see kids running in, you meet pets that they have. It actually makes it a little bit more personal than maybe you would have learned about someone in a physical office. So I think there's been some great connection points in a virtual world, but communication has been critical in order to keep an agency connected, which I like to think we did a good job. And as my fellow initiatives know that I'm always looking to make it better. And so trust me, I get the hard questions all the time of things that people love and the thing we need to improve.
Well, thank you so much, Amy, for joining us. I appreciate it. And congrats again on the new role.
Thank you so much, Janine. I appreciate you spending the time with me, and have a good rest of the day and stay safe.
And as always, thank you to our Ad Age crew, Alfred Mascaroni, Anna Sakula, Max Sternlicht, and Elise Liffring for making this live stream happen. And be sure to keep an eye on Ad Age for all breaking news and updates. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in.